Bum, 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 bum. Come on, streaming, hurry up. Wakey, wakey, YouTube. Wakey, wakey, YouTube. Oh, we got one watching. Hello, hello, hello. Mr. Bliss, how we doing? And Mr. Tucker. Bum, 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 bum. Yeah, I'm just seeing some people are saying that for 24H2 and stripped down drivers, that my special method of allowing the stripped down drivers that are unsigned to work, i.e. this, is not enough. So they were saying that they had to disable secure boot as well. So I've just gone into BIOS and look what I've done. And seems fine. So there we go. That was a short stream. Thanks to everybody for watching. Nothing to see here. Please move along. As I say, secure boot seems fine. So I don't know. I don't know why they had to disable secure boot. Maybe they were running the HID USB-F. Maybe that was it. Maybe they were overclocking their controller or something, and that was what was triggering it. Not the unsigned GPU drivers. But yeah, that loaded into it just fine. No problem. So yeah, I'm going to turn it off again because what do I need to turn it off? Yeah, I do overclock my SCUF controller, don't I? I don't overclock my PlayStation Edge controller because there's no need to, as long as I'm updated to the firmware. 3 Astic. Hi. What does Secure Boot do? What Secure Boot does is when the computer starts up, it checks to see all the drivers that it's loading as the computer starts are all digitally signed and verified. And the problem with if you're running something like overclocking on your input devices, like with HID USB-F, for example, or you are stripping down your drivers for your GPU, the Nvidia drivers, with Nvcleanstall on 24H2, they are both adding unsigned drivers to the system. So what Secure Boot does is it says it normally stops the system booting completely if it finds it needs to load any unsigned drivers. That's what Secure Boot does. So it's just like a safety protocol as the system loads, as the system boots up, as Windows boots up. But I normally recommend turning it off because a lot of people overclock their controllers, as I say. Not many people are on 24H2 and have the Nvcleanstall issue yet because not many people are on 24H2. It's only those of us that have got early rollouts or are in the insider program that have been running it for a little bit because I'm running 26120. So anything that starts with 26,000 is 24H2. Makes sense. I have a 4080 Super. My GPU. I have one of them. 4080 Super. But I stripped down the drivers for it, so they're nice and fast, low latency drivers. So I always run the latest driver, and I always strip it down to take out all the telemetry and stuff. I use Nvcleanstall to do that. But there's a trick, you can't do that in 24H2 unless you do this thing. You have to basically turn on test signing here, press enter, reboot. You'll then see some text down in the bottom right hand corner of your window of your desktop saying this is test you're in test mode. You then install the stripped down drivers, and then you go back to no, hit enter, reboot, and then you're back to normal, and the drivers are running fine. You have an i9 400K. Should I OC it? No, good luck with that. You can barely get them stable at stock speeds. You can't overclock it. You can optimize what you do with it, like I have, because I've got the KS. So you can optimize what you do, but you're not overclocking them anymore. They're just not stable. It's a really bad idea. Your CPU, really bad idea. I restart and I go into what is it? BIOS quick. I'm going to take off that secure boot because I've got 3 environments on this PC, 3 Windows installs all next to each other. I got a 23H2 that I game on. I've got a 23H2 that I test on, and I've got a 24H2. So I've got 3 environments I can boot up into. But I'm going to take off that secure boot. I know you can't see this right now because I haven't set it up so you can see it, but I'm disabling secure boot. Yeah, so there are some things you can do to your CPU that will make it more stable and give it a bit more performance in the BIOS. But depends which motherboard you've got, and so generally speaking, I would recommend turning off C states. I would recommend turning off hyperthreading. I'd recommend setting all your P cores to none of them to overboost. So normally 2 cores go up. Like my one is set to 59, 5.9 gigahertz, and it can boost to 6.2. But I turn all that off, and they all 8 of them only go to 5.9. I think I made a video, didn't I, on YouTube for 14900 KS? I'm pretty sure I did, and what I've done to my BIOS for optimizing it. You might want to check that out. Hang on, I might find it in a minute for you. Right, anyway, let me press F10 on this. Oh, right, disabled secure boot again. And we can go back in. Didn't I do that? On YouTube. Hello. Right, let's load that back up again. Right, I'll try and find a link for you because I'm nice like that. Where's my channel? There we go. MSI BIOS optimization guide. I don't know why it's 29 seconds in, but why have I got it 29 seconds in? Copy that, close that, paste that. Yep. Yeah, you get it's more FPS. You can overclock your memory more because you're then not stressing your memory controller so much. So, wait, did that not work? Yeah, that YouTube link. Is it going to send it on YouTube? It'll take a little bit of time to come through. I don't know why it does that. Restream is instant on Twitch, but it takes like 30 seconds to go through on YouTube for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah, so I mean, I've benchmarked tons of options, tons and tons of options for benchmarking your CPU. Loads of them. Turning off a certain amount of E cores, all sorts of things. It depends on your motherboard. Zeppo, little update. My issue is the PCIe gen setting. You have to switch on the board and in the BIOS, but my Arctic Freezer 3 AIO is not compatible. Oh, because of the massive heatsink. I emailed Arctic and they sent me a free of charge, a custom M2 heatsink, what should work. They can't. So you're the guinea pig. I'm waiting on that before I'm going to swap the 65. Okay, cool. Dimitri, thank you for the follow. You got an Asus Prime. Well, the thing is, MSI do things differently to ASUS. So if you want me to tell you what the equivalent is from my MSI board to where it is on the ASUS BIOS, I can't do that, but you can find that. So generic things like disabling C states, like turning off hyperthreading, they should be easy for you to find. But things like how to set all your cores so that none of them boost over, what, 5.7, I think it is for your CPU. I'm not going to be able to direct you directly to that because I don't own any ASUS motherboard. Well, my son has an ASUS motherboard, I suppose, but yeah, not with our CPU. All my computers that I buy are always MSI boards. So you can follow the video that I posted above if it came through. Did it come through? I don't know if it came through. I posted it. Why has it done that? I think it came through. But yeah, on my YouTube channel there's a walkthrough of things that I've done. So you should be able to use the search command in your BIOS and find equivalent things. You bought one of them for $180, couldn't be happier. Okay. Yes, it did. Oh, cool. So that should help you. But yeah, I mean, I've benchmarked for pretty much everything you can possibly think of ever. This is comparing like 8 cores, 4 cores, 0 cores, E cores, 4 cores, 8 cores. Like comparing the number of E cores that you can have running in the background and turning them on and off. So yeah, if you can follow the guide, can follow that that thing, then do follow that thing. My video. You should be able to find equivalent things. Wait, was that? That was the only one. Yeah, lots. I mean, there's 446 items of captures just on this environment, just on this one, let alone the other ones. I really do let me benchmark everything. I'm on a Lean Performance AI, but that thing makes too much pump noise. Can't stand the noise, really. Okay. Yeah, so I don't know if you're still watching Boombastic with threes. You're right, Jake. Right. So my son's choking in the background. But what was I going to show you? Yeah, so how to test whether it's stable or not. So I'll do a quick how-to on how to see whether you're getting better performance when you're optimizing your CPU and whether it's stable. So I'll do a very, very quick tutorial on that now for you. So I'm going to go into my 23H2 test environment. Go into this one. I'm still on the Insiders Epo. I'm updating it constantly, so it should, the official one shouldn't be any newer than what I've got. Right, so there's my test environment. So you want to download a tool called Benchmate, this thing. You just go to, I think, benchmate.org in a browser, and you just download it. It's free, completely free. It has been released, Biscuit, but they're rolling it out slowly to only certain hardware. So it says pre-built. Intel say pre-built. So I'm assuming that's like Dell laptops and things. So they'll add the rollout to kind of other hardware as they think it's safe to do so. But I posted a couple of articles on my Discord today about how 24H2 is conflicting with easy anti-cheat games. But I mean, I've been running this for over a month, at least a month, maybe 2 months. And I run an easy anti-cheat game every day on it, and it's no problem. So I don't know why some people are getting blue screens of death at all. So maybe hold off on it for now. But yeah, anyway. So a quick how-to on to see whether your CPU's stable or not. So the first thing I use is Y Cruncher. This is very, very sensitive to instability. And you can just use the default and just make sure it doesn't throw any errors at all. And it only runs for like 16 seconds, but it's the quickest way I know of that I've found of testing whether your CPU is stable or not. After whether it's stable now or after you're making a tweak in the BIOS. So, sorry, run about 21 seconds. There we go, 20.4. So that's the fastest I've ever got this computer, 20.4. So make sure it doesn't crash, make sure it doesn't have any errors in it. The second one to run from this is one called Cinebench R15. That is also very, very sensitive to CPU instability. And make that a bit smaller so you can see whether I can fit that in. Just run the CPU one here. I get a score of about 4,000. I've turned off. So getting high scores in Cinebench doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get bigger scores. Well, that's a big score actually. Bigger scores in game. So Cinebench, especially with Intel, is going to be using a lot of the E cores to get higher scores, and your games will be basically just running on your P cores. They don't care about the E cores at all. They just distribute across the P cores, the performance cores. So, as I say, I would typically recommend only running 8 E cores, turning off hyperthreading, turning off C states, and then try and get these scores as high as you can go. I can get these scores a lot higher if I turn back on hyperthreading and C states and all the E cores, but it would be worse in game. So you got to be careful thinking that these scores here are representative of what your game performance is. They're really good for seeing that you're going in the right direction, but they're not so good for saying, yes, I'm going to get double the number of FPS because I've doubled this score. That's just not going to happen. Right, so that's Cinebench R15, and then Cinebench R23 is a little bit. It's a good way of finding out whether you're tuning in the right direction, as I said. But it's not really going to show you instability unless you're really unstable, especially with your memory as well. So you can run a multi-core test. So they're the 3 things I typically do to see quickly whether my CPU is stable or not. Once you think you've got it stable and you're happy with the performance gains, then you can run something like Prime 95 for 2 hours just to make sure it's all stable completely. But this is pretty quick of making a change, seeing if it's better or worse the number, and seeing if you get any errors. So I'm normally about 27,000 here, and as I say, I've turned off half of my E cores, so I've only got 8, and I've turned off hyperthreading. So if I put those back on again, I get bigger Cinebench scores, but the in-game performance would actually be worse. So yeah, these are good tools for working out overclocking, but they're not so good for saying how it's going to affect your game. Does that make sense? So Benchmate, go and find Benchmate on the internet, and yeah, install it, and then it's the bottom Y Cruncher, Cinebench R15, and Cinebench R23. Try those. But yeah, if you don't pass this Y Cruncher, then you are currently on an unstable CPU, even before you've overclocked it. And it's a good way of saying to Intel, my CPU's been bricked because you've put too much voltage through it, your fault. give me a new one, please, free of charge, also known as RMA. So if you can prove to them that because this is my second 14900 KS. The first one was failing this on stock settings. So I proved it to Intel. Intel went, right, we want to change it. I then spoke to Cyberpower, who I bought the PC from, showed them that Intel wanted to RMA it themselves. And then they, within 3 days, I sent the computer back to Cyberpower. They gave me a new CPU in it. I send it back again. Is this really necessary to do all this? Oh yeah, massively. If you want to overclock, then yes. If you're looking at overclocking your CPU or optimizing it and not really overclocking it and getting it stable, then yeah, it is. Otherwise, you're probably going to be getting game crashes occasionally and going, why did that happen? I never get game crashes now. I did when it was unstable, never now. So if you're overclocking your memory, your CPU, or your GPU, and not so much your GPU for these ones, if you're overclocking your GPU, then you want to be using something like superposition to test for any errors. But I mean, I've done a mild overclock on my GPU. It's nothing too special. But I play Fortnite principally, so overclocking my GPU doesn't really do a lot because it's a CPU-bound game. So these are very mild. I use Afterburner more for the custom fan curve because that having that cool is like free performance. Having a custom fan curve, like it's free performance. So there are some things I would just recommend doing even if you don't overclock. But yeah, you want it stable. I have spent months of my life now trying to get these Intel CPU, the new ones, stable, and the best way of doing it. So I'm still not particularly happy. I mean, you can see, am I running? Yeah, I'm running throttle stop on this one. So you can see I'm basically running all my P cores at 5.9 and all my E cores at 4.5. 4.5 is 4.5 gigahertz is the default for E cores, but 5.9 is basically what happens when you go into a high performance power plan. So I pretty much sit at 5.9. And what I normally do is if I'm not running anything, if I go into here, I'm not normally, if I'm just on my desktop, I just run balanced power plan. That massively reduces the voltages going through it and prolongs the lifespan of the CPU. All the clocks have gone down now. And then when I start a game up, it automatically goes into the bitsum one, and then everything's running at full whack. So that will save the lifespan of the CPU as well. But yeah, when you're gaming, you don't want any parking. You don't want the game running on any of the E-cores. My E-core's 4.5. P-core's at 6. So I mean, I can run that, Francisco. I don't know what CPU you've got, but I found that the performance is actually worse because the extra heat it generates. It's actually worse. It ends up kind of downclocking anyway. So in game, especially with the new microcode update, I'm assuming you're not running the latest microcode update if you've set it to 6, because the only time you'll actually see 6 is when you're sitting on the desktop running in full power, full power power plan, full performance power plan. If you actually then go into a game and measure it, then you're probably going to be dropping to 5.8 during gameplay. Yeah, so you've got the same CPU as me. I mean, I can run 6.2. I've run 6.2 before, but the performance isn't as good. I don't know whether I've actually got the old recordings. I can run all the cores at 6.2, the P cores, but it's just not as good performance. Or It kind of peaks up to 6, but 5, 9, and 6 are pretty much the same performance, and then it kind of tails off 6, 1, 6, 2. I don't know whether I can show you some examples of that. Find some 5, 9, 5, 9 fixed. Don't know whether this is the best one to show this. But yeah, overclocking your ring as well. Sorry, let me having multiple conversations now. How do you do that thing when you're in desktop? It's running 11. What do you mean? How do you do the thing when you're in desktop? It's running 11, and then in game it goes higher. 11? Oh, you mean processor C? Yeah, this thing's the best thing since sliced bread. You definitely want processor C. There's a free version of this as well that you can do pretty much everything with it. But it'll automatically switch the power plan as soon as you go into a game. But yeah, you want processor C. Everyone wants processor C. It's awesome. I'm not locking my vehicle. Yeah, I'm not doing a static overclock. That way it lives longer because it can downclock and live longer. This is why I like it. I like it going down because I'm prolonging the lifespan of my CPU. I don't want it running at a high voltage all the time. Don't want that. I used to do that on my old gaming PC, and after about 3 years, I had to take it down from 5.1 to 5.0, and then it's just started to get 4.9-ish. And yeah, I used to run it at a fixed rate all the time. It was really good, really good performance, but it's definitely reduced the lifespan of my old PC CPU. Oh, Francisco, you've deleted it. Okay, so you've got no warranty anymore. So if there's something wrong, if it's something wrong with it, you can't RMA it. I'm not doing that. Yeah, delidding will definitely help with temperatures and definitely help with stability. But then you're gambling that there's nothing wrong with it or will go wrong with it. Windows 11, you have to download that and it automatically does it. Pretty much. I think it automatically, I mean, I do have, in my guide, I do have some instructions on how to set up processor C. But I mean, processor C does more than just manage power plans. I mean, you can do things like your timer resolution in here. Actually, that needs to go to 4 because it keeps resetting it to 3 decimal places instead of 4. I need to change that. And you can do things like, I don't want smart balance, actually. Yeah, pro balance, which is really, really useful to stop background apps interrupting the responsiveness of foreground apps. It does so much, processor C. Yeah, so I did some live things yesterday in processor C, I think, didn't I? Yeah, well, my live stream yesterday. If you watch that back, either on YouTube or on Twitch, then that goes through pretty much all the things I've done in processor C. If you want to learn about that, you're not worried about spike. Are you talking about voltage spikes? Because the microcode now stops it going over 1.55 volts ever. And no, I'm not worried about voltage spikes. I don't see more than about 1.45 now when it's in I mean, look. So at the moment, right, I'm in balanced, so it's power saving. So these are all the cores. So look, I'm using 0.7 volts. Oh, I just did that. 0.7 volts. And it's kind of power saving. So that's prolonging the life of the CPU. If I then go and induce performance mode manually, then these are all 100% by the way, because I've turned off idle. Because 24H2 seems to want to power save a lot more than 23H2 did. And I found the only way to actually get things to not power save so much is to actually disable idle in the power plan. So that's why I'm running. That's why I'm running. It says it's 100%, but it's not. That you open Process Explorer up and have a look here, you can see I'm only running 9%, 8%. So it thinks it's 100%. Task Manager thinks it's 100%. That thinks it's 100%, but it's not. Just a visual bug if you disable idle. But anyway, so going back to this, so look, my cores are now sitting at about 1.4 volts, just over 1.4, and under heavy load, I probably won't see more than about 1.45. So it's fine, it's nice and healthy now. I've got the 129 microcode BIOS installed. I don't have the 12B BIOS yet installed because it's not out yet for my motherboard. But the reports I'm getting suggesting that it's thanks for the sub, Max. The reports I'm hearing is that the performance is even worse than 129 in 12B, so I might not even install it. I mean, as I say, the setup that I've got now is keeping my CPU nice and healthy. I'm happy with that. I've got decent temps. In game, I'm not seeing more than about 60 running at 360 FPS. So fine, nice and stable. Right. Any other questions? Scary. Delidding is scary. Yes. Been running LLC3 and light load 3 and doesn't trigger CP on MSI board. I don't touch LLC. If I change any LLC whatsoever, I don't pass Y-Cruncher. Y-Cruncher doesn't pass. It throws errors. If I do anything with LLC, and also if I change LLC, it typically jumps 15 degrees centigrade, the CPU temp. So no, I don't touch LLC, and I don't, what's the other one I don't touch? Yeah, I can't undervolt. Undervolting, if I even undervolt by 10 microvolts, I get instability. No, I haven't used an oscilloscope. I just do benchmarking, see if it's stable or not. What's that app called? Oh, are you talking about processor so, or are you talking about throttle stop? That's throttle stop. That gets rid of a bug for Intel processors whereby they lose 5 to 10% CPU processing ability because Defender decides to run a live update every so often randomly when you're running something. So running throttle stop actually has what's called a Windows Defender boost, and it stops it doing it. Premium antivirus, gaming antivirus, will also do it. So you don't need throttle stop if you're running something like Norton 360 for gamers. But if you want to stop Defender running real-time scans while you're gaming, then you need this, or a premium throttle stop. That's what you need. I'm screaming. Processor Sue, yeah, that's this one. But yeah, if you want to know more about Processor Sue, go and check out my live video from yesterday on YouTube. Didn't ask. Okay. Our last video had 60. Yeah. So yeah, I do that for light load, but I don't touch load line calibration at all. Leave it on auto. MSI do weird things with load line calibration. Really weird. I mean, there's mode 1 to 8 in the BIOS for MSI, and 8 is auto. And if you go to 7, so the thing least distance away from 8, then you gain 15 degrees centigrade and lose loads of performance, and it's still not stable. So you can't. You need like a 7.5 or something, which doesn't exist. So yeah, I don't touch load line calibration. I do the light load stuff, but yeah, not the AC/DC load line. You mentioned 60 was bad performance. It's not bad for performance. I think by default it's running. My MSI is running 60 and 100 for the AC/DC load line. That's the normal default. If you set it to normal. But you can tweak that a little bit. So I went down to like 57 just to get an edge a little bit more performance. If I go down to like 55, I get Y cruncher errors. Start getting Y cruncher errors if you go too low. As I say, if you want to test this out, download Benchmate, run Y cruncher, and just run a 20-second test. Make sure it's stable. You can use Processor Lasso free, and that does most of the things, but you will get a 10-second pop-up. Hey guys, I just bought 8200 RAM and can only clock. Anything after my PC won't boot. It's because my motherboard can't handle the speed. Yeah, potentially, it could be your CPU memory controller having problems with it, or it could be the motherboard. Normally, if you how many memory slots does your motherboard got in it? 2 or 4? Normally 2 you can get higher speeds, or you're probably not going to be able to get as high speeds. Right. Four memory slots using 2 gigabit stick. Yeah, that's the problem. I can't go over 4,000. Sorry, 7,466 on my 4 slots. Won't do it. I can get 7,600 relatively stable, but I have to really loosen the timings to do that. What do you recommend for multi-core enhancement? Yeah, I don't know. Asus. Yeah, guys, and make sure that the memory's in slot 2 and 4 as well. Right, okay. Oh, have I got something else running? Oh, it's because that's running. That's why. What else was I going to show? Yeah, I think so. Can you adjust the latency timing on the RAM? Yeah, you can. I mean, memory overclocking is like the biggest rabbit hole ever. But yeah, if you want to overclock your memory, I mean, what's the XMP for it? So you think the XMP 8200, do you? What's the CAS latency on the 8200? I mean, I'm running what? I'm running CL32 7466 on mine. Have I got this up here? Where's my memory stuff? $38. Yeah, so I'm running 34, sorry. 34, 7466. Oh, where my memory stuff's going. Memory tweak it. There we go. Yeah, so 7466, but I'm pretty much keeping. I've tightened these a little bit, but pretty much the same timings. If you've got to go down, are you sure your motherboard supports it? Please have my CPU and motherboard. Yeah, yeah. Loose glasses. I need to go and pick up my new glasses. Actually, these are my old ones. My new ones are ready for collection. I need to go and get them. All right. What else are we doing? Yeah, I mean, I would do more memory overclocking, but I need a memory fan if I'm going to do that on my PC, and I can't work out how I'm going to fit one. The normal memory fans don't fit. I suppose I can mount another fan, a directional fan or something over the top of it. But if I'm going to do, yeah, if I'm going to do memory overclocking, I need to be cooling my memory, especially G-Skill, which runs really hot. Right, what are we doing? Oh, Zeppo. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I'll close the door a bit, otherwise he's going to get upset with me. Thanks, Zeppo. Yeah, I cleaned out my case today. I had to take it all apart. My Neon Lee case. I took off all the top, I took off all the back. I used compressed air to clean out any fans. There was pretty much no air in the radio, no dust at all in the radios, the fans. The filters had done a really good job protecting them. But I cleaned out all the filters. Okay, my motherboard says it can do, yeah, plus. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Normally, if you want to know how fast your memory can run, you need to go to the memory website and see whether your motherboard and your CPU support what speeds they support up to. Yep. So you can see mine only go up to 7,200. Any options there? How to adjust the latency on the RAM? Not directly. I've got various videos going through all my RAM timings in the motherboard, in the BIOS, but I haven't done that much overclocking on the DDR5, just because, as I say, I don't have a RAM fan. Not much point. My CPU motherboard combo is limited to that, which is the ones I bought. I think these are the ones I've got. Oh wait, that's not the ones I've got. That's what I've got. CL34. Yeah, it's very in-depth changing speeds. Alex, do you know why Fortnite has micro-stutters in it? Because GPU... I don't have any micro-stutters, Fireboy. Don't have any stuttering at all. Micro or otherwise. Insanely smooth. I don't think anyone that is on my Discord has micro-stuttering. If they did, they'd be shouting at me. Let's go back to 24H2. Yeah. So let's find a recent recording for you to show you no micro-stuttering. I mean, normally micro-stuttering is you get big latency spikes, probably 100, 200 milliseconds. I mean, in replays, I'm getting no frame time spikes more than 20. Latest drivers, everything I normally do. Um, 2080, 2060, i5. My friend has Ryzen. He has stutters by Fox. Well, I'm not commenting on other people's tweaks. But no, absolutely no micro-stuttering on anyone that uses my stuff. Very, very, very smooth. Look, I mean, stuttering, 0.09. If I look at a new one, 0.09 stuttering. All these recordings, no micro-stuttering, kind of almost none. Anything normally under 0.3% is pretty smooth. 0.1% is ridiculously smooth. Absolutely no micro-stuttering on anything. Never used to get micro-stuttering on my old PC either. as I say, watch my stream back from yesterday. I mean, let me see if I can find it for you. Find you a link. Live. There you go. Watch that back. Watch that back. You can follow along with that one. That was yesterday. I was testing out ProBalance stuff yesterday. Whether optimizing ProBalance made any difference. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. Unless you're running out of CPU already. Okay. Thanks for the heads up, Zeppo. From the beginning. I mean, if you want step-by-step guides with timestamps and everything, then you need to purchase my pack, I'm afraid. Otherwise, the free options are just watch my videos or tune into my live streams and ask me stuff. Do you have anything in mind? And my friend has, yeah, my entire guide, Fireboy. I can't tell you 180 plus pages of information for free live. I'm not doing that, and nor do I have time for that, which is why I wrote it all down. You want to learn how to tune a PC, purchase my guide and my pack. It teaches you how to do it. Right. What else are we doing? I still can't decide whether I should run scanline sync and front edge sync and suffer the 2 milliseconds of input delay. Just too tempting to get rid of all those like micro frame time. Too tempting. No. Less stuttering with async. Just leave it on async. If you do exclamation mark tip, you're on my Discord, aren't you? Pretty sure you're on my Discord. You should know all this stuff. It's plastered all over it. Right, what should we do? Shall I do some Unreal Ranked with the boys? I don't know if they're on actually. Guys, you on? What's happening? The boys. B-O-Y-Z. Biscuit and me are on. Okay. All right, I'm going to turn off YouTube because if I'm playing Fortnite, normally YouTube gets bored with Fortnite and gameplay, and they'll only tune in for free PC tuning stuff. So if you want to keep watching, jump over to my Twitch channel. and you can continue watching that. Otherwise, I'll see you guys probably tomorrow when I think of something else to talk about. All right, catch you later, guys. Bye for now.